Alright, so today I'm going to show you how to safely operate a cordless impact wrench. And we're going to demonstrate that by taking a lug nut off a 99 Ford Ranger and then putting it back on. So to take it off, we'll use the impact wrench. To put it back on, we'll use a torque wrench. The impact wrench, it's for loosening fasteners that are stuck on. Or snugging them up. You never want to use it to tighten a fastener to a specific precise torque amount. For that, you want to use a torque wrench and not an impact wrench. So this is a cordless impact wrench. It's a DeWalt DCF 899 is the model number. It's cordless. It's powered by a battery. It doesn't have a cord. However, to charge the battery, you have to put that on this corded charger here. Some safety aspects to consider with this. It's corded, so when you take the cord out of the wall, don't pull on the actual cord, grab it by the plug, and it'll prevent having any exposed wires in the future. Another thing to consider with these, most of them have vents on the top or bottom to vent any excess heat that builds up while charging. This is just a cheap one that came with a heated jacket, so it's sealed. It takes about 5 hours to charge this battery, so probably doesn't build up enough heat to actually need any vents on it. I do have a Milwaukee M12 charger here. It has vents on the bottom and the top. So just something to consider when you're charging. Make sure that this is on a flat, solid surface. If it's on something soft, like a blanket or pillow, that could kind of squish in here and block those vents and cause this to overheat. So before we do anything with the impact wrench, we're going to put our safety glasses on to protect our eyes. And then I already have some earplugs in to protect my hearing because these are pretty loud when you operate them. So we'll go ahead and put the battery in and give you a rundown on how it's operated. So you push this button in here, push it all the way to the right. That's going to be reverse. Push it all the way to the left. That's forward. You put it right in the middle and you can't pull the trigger. So that's kind of the safety. Then you have a selector switch down here by the battery. So there's going to be 3 different speeds that all have different torque amounts in both forward and reverse. So the first speed is going to be 100 foot-pounds, the second is 300, and the third is 700 foot-pounds, and that's going forward, so tightening. In reverse, the third speed is going to have 1200 breakaway foot-pounds. So to put on to take off the lug nut, we're going to need to pick out the proper socket. For that, you're going to want to use an impact socket and not one of these chrome-plated sockets. The chrome-plated sockets, they're made out of a hardened steel. They're very thin and brittle because they're made of a hardened steel, and these can shatter when you use them in an impact wrench and cause a lot of harm to you. So you want to use an impact socket. It's made out of a more ductile steel. It's softer, so there's way less of a chance of it shattering and hurting you. And then it's also coated in a black phosphate. Instead of chrome plating, the black phosphate from repeated impact is not going to flake or chip off. The chrome plating will, and it'll eventually rust and make it even weaker over time. So to take the lug nut off, we're going to use this flip socket. We're going to use the 19mm side. And then on the impact wrench here, this square piece is the anvil, and this part up here is the detent pin. So since we're using a flip socket, we've got to put an extension on there. So we want to line the hole up in the extension with the detent pin and put that on there. And that's just going to hold that on there more securely. So we'll take our flip socket, snug that on there, and we'll go and take this lug nut off. I've got the center cap off already. And for loosening, we're going to put in reverse and set it to the 3rd speed and pick a lug nut to take off. And then when we're holding the impact wrench, we want to put one hand on the back of it to keep the lug nut inserted into the socket. And then the other hand, kind of hold the handle to brace it and operate the trigger. So we'll go ahead and take this off. So that's off there. To put it back on, you'll put it in forward, so all the way to the left. And then the selector switch will put to 1. Whenever you're tightening lug nuts, you want to use a torque limited impact wrench. If I were to put this into the 3rd speed and put 700 foot-pounds on it, there's a good chance of either snapping that stud off or else stripping it out. And this truck has a torque specification of 100 foot-pounds, so if you torque it more than that, you can actually damage either the rotor or the stud from over-torquing it. So we'll go ahead and thread that on a little bit, prevent any cross-threading with the impact wrench. And we'll go ahead and tighten it back on. Alright, and that's back on. So then I'll come back with the torque wrench and torque this to 100 foot-pounds. You do not want to use the impact wrench to torque it to a specific torque. And that is how you safely operate that cordless impact wrench.